episode of personal branding series, which I am doing on my blog. The reason why I reached out to you is because you are a thought leader in your space and you have been part of the LinkedIn Top Voice. So I think it's really great that you've taken the time. So what I'll do is I will ask you some questions. You respond to them. Yeah.
Sure, sure. And thank you for choosing me for this.
Yeah.
Uh, it's a great honor.
Okay. So again, starting with the basics. So what, according to you, is personal branding? How would you define it? And I'll take notes as we go along so that I have a transcript as well. Yeah.
Sure, sure. Why not? Right. Well, first, I would like to say this topic of personal branding that you have chosen to interview is no more a fancy term. All right. It is a must to have for any individual. Any factor for that matter. That's any geographic location, your seniority, level of seniority, or your job role, your career. It is a must to have. Um,
Got it.
so to me personally, personal branding is how you market yourself, right?
Okay.
The how you set the you as a brand. When I say
Mhm.
you, that's if I choose myself, then it's me as a brand.
Mhm. Got it.
However, having said that, to me, personal branding is not recreating a version of yourself. Okay, we do not. Nobody should recreate a version of yourself. It's more of you need to identify, okay,
Mhm.
who you are, develop that sense of identification, and how
Mhm.
you stand out from the rest. For
Okay.
example, now if you go to people and ask, I'm just saying, I'm not yet there probably, but I'm just saying, if you go to people and ask, hey, who's Mubeena, the first thing that should strike up to their mind without even giving a second thought is, okay, I know who it is. Because
Okay.
for now, if you go to Google and type Mubeena Azeez, it will give you some brief of what I am. So,
Right.
that is something how you differentiate and you keep yourself, different from others
Okay.
without recreating a version of yourself that's with complete authenticity and right
Yeah.
communication and the right content. However, not the curated content, the right
Mhm.
content.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Fantastic. And if I were to, I mean, so of course, in you consider yourself as a brand, but again, if I were to ask you, how do you know that you are one? So what are those indications? What are those signs which tell you that you're a personal brand?
Well, see, we cannot measure that you are there. You are a personal brand by getting some achievements or a title for yourself. It really doesn't matter. Like for example, if you say I've been selected as LinkedIn Top Voice 2019, awarded as a young influencer, young leader by SHO, those do not define you as a personal brand.
Hmm.
Personal brand is something we should be able to measure how
Hmm.
you engage the members or individual in a particular platform that I chose to engage,
Hmm.
right? And now, when I say this, the volume of response that you get from the individuals through your contribution and
Hmm.
those response, and your
Hmm.
contribution, they take a secondary spread over that platform or a different platform.
Got it.
So how you
Got it.
measure that contribution and having
Hmm.
said that, engagement is not just a metric. What comes
Hmm.
more is how qualitative you are. Your
Hmm.
contribution needs to be qualitative because
Hmm.
um, the signals of proxies for these are
Hmm.
community development and
Hmm.
communication. So, what we give back
Okay.
to the community through your contribution actually plays a major role, with the personal branding.
Got it. Okay, that's very interesting insights. And if I were to ask you in your journey as a influencer, as a personal brand, so what does one do to go about building it? So if you were to help people explain that, so what do you go about do to go about building a personal brand?
Um, well, there is always a thing. When it comes to branding, I see a lot of people doing when they take it aggressively about self promotion. That's not the case. There is a world of difference. Seek and give help
Mm.
versus self promotional branding. All right.
Hmm.
So this makes a huge difference in what you do. right? Because all, like I said, like the contributions, what we do in particular platform reflects on the world that we are living in today. And when it, so coming back to your questions, what I did is authenticity. You know, you need to be authentic about what your personal brand.
I think I'm losing you. I think the line kind of.
Okay.
Yeah, you're back. But if you could repeat the last part, I think I didn't catch that. So you mentioned about being authentic.
Yes, you being authentic, and we need to use the strength and traits of everyone. Because I'll tell you what, like for example, if I interview, at least in my 10 years of experience, I've interviewed so many candidates. Everybody comes with the same skill. Like you see someone from IIT Bombay and IIT of different locations will have the same strength. However, they would be applying for the same job. Now you need to identify how I beat. Let's say I'm from one of the IIT and there's another person. How do I identify myself and how do I go out and differentiate that? In a layman term, if I have to say, when for example, if you go out and buy a suit out there, there are tailor-made suit, there are ready-made, readily available. Right now, I'm a person who would definitely want to go for a tailor-made because I want to be different from others and a unique identity. So probably that's what I think.
Got it. Okay. Okay. Interesting. And so, if I would ask you, what are some of the attributes of your brand? So, if people were to describe you in a few words or few keywords, so what are those attributes? What would they look at you and call out?
Um, what would they call me out is first of all they would say I'm extremely fun loving. Okay, that's the first thing that I would say, and they would probably talk about few of my strength, which I have identified through my friends and family. That I'm an extremely people-oriented person. I'm a people's person. Right? That's why even the degree that I choose, my career is. I want to stick on to HR no matter what because I've been a completely a people's person. Finance, I know I was not good at numbers. I can do it, but I don't enjoy it. And marketing, that's not my cup of tea probably. So I know I'm people's person, so they would say that. And I have a passion which most of them don't know. So I'm extremely passionate about few things, but I keep it exclusive depending on the platform because for I to say I've been a model passionately to career. I choose HR, but passion, I've worked with so many Miss World and Miss India divas. So modeling and dancing has been my passion. So they know that I'm extremely people oriented and I'm ready to face the challenges. I'm always ready for the ambiguity.
Okay, wonderful. I mean, that's a lot of talent that you just talked about. Uh, and so, based on your experiences and your learning, so who, according to you, is the personal brand? So, I mean, again, I'm not talking of celebrities and others, but in your everyday walk of life, if there's somebody whom you see as a personal brand.
Well, see, I certainly cannot stick on to one person on this because um, every day I get to meet someone. For example, even if it's 60 seconds of elevator pitch somebody makes, I find that person to be doing they're creating a personal brand. For example, me and HR and recruitment being a passion, every at least in a month I speak to minimum 20 candidates. The first question, a very loaded question, tell me about yourself. This question in fact gives the opportunity to the other person to show what they are, to articulate what they are well. There I see some personal branding. So apparently to me most of them that I come across, which I would say occupational hazard, that I have to come across this
Mhm. Mhm.
each and every day. But exclusively, if I have to say, I can name a few who have created their brand from
One
the
or
scratch.
one or
We
two
have
names would
seen
be great. Yeah, one or two names would.
um, Varun Agarwal, if you
Mhm.
know, who is, Varun Agarwal is an influencer, is a social media influencer. He's a dropout from one of the top engineering colleges, and how he became an entrepreneur. And
Mhm.
uh, MS Dhoni is someone who I really, see the lot of traits, how he created a personal branding through his characters and values, which I really like.
Got it. Okay. Wonderful. Okay. Yeah. In fact, that was my next question, and I think you answered that. So, yeah, I was wanting to know what is those characteristics that you admire about them. So you mentioned the values and the
Characters.
personal characters of it. Okay, great. So, if I were to ask you to reflect on your journey, um,
Mm-hmm.
so what are those some of those conscious steps you took to build your personal brand? So now that you are a recognized person in your particular domain. So what are those things that you have done to build your personal brand? What steps did you take?
Well, first thing is, there are in fact so many. Okay, I would like to put it in a nice, jot it down in a nice way. Probably that would answer some of your other questions as well if you have it in mind.
Hmm.
First is develop a sense of identity and understand the external feedback. You know,
Okay.
you would, while you're in the process of creating the personal brand, there would be a lot of noise, there would be a lot of criticism, because
Correct.
what happens is, while someone is creating a personal brand, we always trend to brag about ourselves, and that is a learning, which is okay, because that is a
Hmm.
process, which is okay.
Hmm.
Eventually that will convert, but there will be a lot of noise, good noise and bad noise, feedback. So you need to understand what the feedback is and
Okay.
stop overthinking towards it and act the right way.
Okay.
And know your target audience, whom you're targeting. That's more important. And you need to
Got it.
have certain goals. You need to
Okay.
clarify the goals and values, and see
Hmm.
how you sustain with it. Because what
Hmm.
happens is, initial stage we are all hyped up and do blogs and go there, attend a lot of conference. Eventually that doesn't sustain. As you get it, it gets onto head, we just
Hmm.
then, okay, we are there now, we are no more there to raise. But each and
Hmm.
everyone every day are trying to create some personal brand,
Got
and
it.
save time and energy to what
Hmm.
is more important to you. It is,
Hmm.
sometimes it's okay to be master of all, but you need, when you're creating a personal brand, you need to have a lot of time and energy to focus on that one important thing that will
Hmm.
help you differentiate from others. And
Hmm.
use your strengths and traits. It could be a smallest strength, but out there it could, maybe speak a lot out there, that particular
Hmm.
strength. And
Hmm.
that's it. Communicate to your audience in a very authentic way.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if I were to, yeah, you mentioned use your strengths a few times. So just want to understand a bit more about that. So if I were to ask you, how did you go about identifying those strengths? So what did you do to find out what your strengths truly were?
Um, the first thing I would say is, the biggest, always I recommend people, or probably I have implemented for myself,
Hmm.
to my friends and family. They are the closest whom you talk to every day,
Yeah.
right? Ask
Hmm.
them any six strengths of yours,
Hmm.
weakness, and try
Hmm.
and jot it down and use that. Let's say, for example, if
Hmm.
they tell me that, my friends say that I'm extremely career oriented, I'm passionate, and
Hmm.
you know people
Hmm.
person, I use these strengths in
Hmm.
all the contents that I do,
Hmm.
because those are my strengths.
Hmm.
If I'm writing a blog, if I'm giving a speech, if I'm having a conversation with someone, or even in my interviews, I
Hmm.
tend to use those.
Hmm.
And they say I'm very appealing and calm and poised. All these strengths I try. So it's okay to ask people. That's why I say you need to understand the external feedback. All right,
Okay.
it's okay, and try and use them everywhere possible. And I guess that
Okay.
becomes good strength.
Great. Great. Great point. So, and while you went about building your brand, so what are some of those challenges that you faced? and what techniques did you use to overcome them? If you can, talk about a few of those. So what challenges did you come across?
Um, like I said, you know, there have been a lot of challenges. The first thing is you might get criticized. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
that's the first thing, because what happens is like personal branding is like a seed, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you achieve it, it's a fruit, complete end product. But the seed is something that will multiply and keep growing. So it's a process. So
Mm-hmm.
you need to know there will be a lot of criticism because you are still learning in the process. You will
Right.
brag about yourself. You will. I have ended up even putting some nonsense stuff there on some platforms, like, okay, I cooked something. Okay, I did that. So what is great about it? But to me, I need to do something. I need to keep my target audience still occupied, and you get criticized. So that was the biggest. But over the time, I've
Mm-hmm.
overcome that, and
Mm-hmm.
it's fine. It's fine if anything. If um, you would have this criticism in a great way, in a smaller way, it's fine. You just need to take it, have the positive outlook of it, and you just have to go about it. And what I learned from this: you need not please everyone. Some would agree with your what you write, some would not agree, some would agree with your conversation. However,
Mm-hmm.
I have learned to put myself in a position of being ready to take a position anytime.
Okay. Okay.
So that's what.
Okay, interesting points. Yeah. And what, I mean, so again, I think I asked you this question about how you built your brand, but were there any specific tools or resources or techniques that you use? So, is it something like, for example, did you maintain a journal for yourself, or did you calm your mind by meditation, or something on those lines? I'm just wondering, is there something which you did to discover yourself and then build your brand as you went along? So, were there some specific techniques that you used?
Uh, See, one thing is, I had always. Are you able to hear me?
Yeah, yeah, I can. I think there
Okay,
is some
right.
background sound. I'm not sure if at your end if is there some AC or some sound. It's constantly
I
coming,
guess.
but I can still hear
Do
your
you
voice.
want me to? Okay. Do you want me to turn it off? I can do that. Give me a minute. I can do that.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
there is some background sound coming. Yeah.
Okay. Just 1 minute.
Yeah, much better, much
Okay.
better. Yeah.
You should have told me this before. I would have done this.
I didn't realize it was coming from that side, but anyway. All right. Yeah, this is great.
Yeah. So to answer your question, I was when I started on my personal branding, I actually got into a fear.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I had a thing of overthinking, and I used to think, will this thinking of the possibilities, you know,
Mm-hmm.
um, and the progression and the possibilities, all this, and purpose. I didn't know what the purpose was. I know I got an MBA degree. I know it was working, but the social media? Okay, let's do it. But what's the purpose? I eventually didn't know at the scratch. So all
Mm-hmm.
this happened, and one fine day is where I had one focus, gave my time and energy. That's for the job seekers. I thought because at the end of the day, you're giving up to the, living up to the community development as well. So I thought I need to go out and help there. Um, the job seekers. I started with minimal things like interview tips and things. So I used to participate in a lot of groups and forums, try and get more of inputs,
Mm-hmm.
because I made up my mind that I'm going to be a lifelong learner. So each day I try and pick up influencer, rather than being an influencer. I try and see who would influence me. So I used to network a lot, and then that's how I gathered. And then slowly, like I said, it's a process. Build it.
Mm-hmm.
Not there completely, but I'm still in the process.
No, I think you've done a lot in such a short time, I would say. Um, So okay, so coming to there's a dual question. So basically, while you talked about the process of building a brand, so there are some things which you gained and some things which you lost. For example, like you said, you have to put in a lot of time and effort. That time and effort means that it may move away from family and friends. So, what are those things that a couple of things that you gained, some of the things which you lost along the way?
Well, I guess gain is great mentors. I've
Mm-hmm.
gathered some great mentors and great influences, and networking. I've had a
Mm-hmm.
good networking session because probably I attend most of the network. I don't choose each and every networking session where there's a huge crowd, because you
Mm-hmm.
will not be able to network well. Like,
True.
say for example, SHRM, I tend most of the time not to get in there because it's a huge crowd. Most of them are there because they build their brand, that's their business brand, and you cannot network. So I try and go to the small groups where
Mm-hmm.
there's, and then I start networking with people. And so I would say I've gained great amount of mentors.
Mm-hmm.
And what I've lost is um, probably some great career opportunities I've lost, because I've got offers like, okay, you know what, you join us, but you got to do just the business branding for us. And you can do that. That's okay, but something that really didn't interest me neither, because I want to do my self promotional. Not That's not the fact, but I'm a person who want to give back to the community and see how you influence with your work out there. So probably I've lost maybe some great career opportunities, maybe.
Okay. Got that. Okay. And if you were to, like, you mentioned that you do mentor people who are looking for careers, jobs, and stuff like that. So if someone who's starting from scratch, someone who's just about beginning, what is your advice for them? What is the first step he or she must do to build a personal brand?
First thing is, probably they must, like I said, the mantra that I use for myself: ask your friends and families, because you cannot, like Peter Drucker said, you cannot. There is no MBA course for networking. There
Mm,
is, it's always your dinner or lunch session or with your friends and family. Okay,
mm,
so you
mm,
need to first ask your friends and family, what are the 6 traits that you see in myself. Come
mm,
on, go ahead and ask out people and make a note of it and see which one matches, and those are your biggest strength. So make
mm,
use of that in all that personal branding that you do for yourself, where
mm,
you're setting it. Make use of those strengths. Second thing
mm,
is values, which is extremely important,
mm,
and most importantly, it's with attitude.
mhm,
Okay, you have it, you either fix it or remove it. This has
mm.
to be the mantra for the attitude while you're doing the personal branding. And
Got it.
passion, what you're passionate about. Choose
Mm,
the platform for what let's say for my career, I choose LinkedIn, and for
mhm,
all my modeling work and what my passion is, I choose the other platforms. So
mhm,
passion, purpose of it, why are you doing it? The why question is always run your mind. Why is that you're doing it? So
mm.
these are,
Got it.
and you need to sustain it. Whatever you're doing in the process, if it's good, you need to sustain.
Got it. Interesting. So if you were to look back on your career and if you had to change something, one thing that you want to change so that the way you build your brand, what would that be? Or what would that be you want to redo or revisit?
Um, the way I build my brand, probably I could have, this again goes from the feedback that I received. More of my content was, I focused on the job seekers.
Mhm,
Now what is happening is, while I'm doing this, I have
mhm,
set somewhere that, yes, if you are from the talent acquisition team, this is how
mhm,
you have to be. Okay, so I've
mhm,
got few feedback from other talent acquisition folks. Hey, you know what, even we are you're setting a benchmark that, even everybody is approaching the same way to us. So somewhere
mhm.
I should my brand.
Sorry, I lost the last part. I think it again got cut. If you could just repeat the last part.
Somewhere,
You meant.
what I thought is, define the benchmarks clearly.
Definitely.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Define the benchmark. Okay. Just make a note. Okay. And what is your so you did mention about your personal branding mantra or recipe. So in a line, if you were to summarize, if just in a line, what would be your mantra for personal branding?
Uh, Mantra for personal branding would be you, be unique. I guess
Okay.
that would be.
Nice. That's very crisp and very short and very interesting. And in your like you mentioned, couple of names like MS Dhoni and Varun Agarwal. So, are there some personal brands you follow very diligently and see what they do? Are there some specific people you follow?
Well, I'm a great fan of Michelle Obama
Okay.
uh, and Barack Obama. The thing is, because of the art of the communication, they have a
Mm,
extremely, especially Michelle Obama has great art of communication. I certainly admire the way, even if she has to, say a no, she's a great
mm,
example to learn how do you say a no without saying a no. Because she's
mm,
got the
mm,
perfect art of communication, I would say. So she's
mm.
someone who I admire.
Fantastic. And couple of more questions. So one is on, right now we are going through this pandemic, COVID-19, people are concerned, there's crisis happening. Now, in this kind of situation, what do personal brands do? I mean, do they stop everything and they keep low, or do they do something? What should be their strategy? So what is your advice for personal brands at this stage?
Well, this situation is, I'm sad to say this. This situation is the right situation for your personal branding. However, this is not the situation we really want, right?
Mm,
So, ec- economic downtime is a time where you differentiate for the right way to go out there. Okay.
mhm,
So, what you do is you need to have a reflection created what you
mhm,
want, like your career advancement or change in your profession or whatever it is. Choose the
mm,
right platform because social
okay.
media is something that's extremely powerful now.
Mm,
So you need to go out there and say what is that, create a purpose, what is that you actually want to do, and you have to, define that clearly because, like I said, it is a must. Personal branding is a must to have along
mm,
with right communication. I'm stressing on the word communication because that is
mm,
extremely important for your personal branding with authenticity and
mm,
valid content because there are people who will be sitting there to validate what exactly are you doing.
mm,
You don't know
mm,
who it is. So
mm, mm.
you need to ensure that the communication is perfect along with
Mm,
choosing the right platform. There are thousands of platforms you can go about it in YouTube, creating blogs, in LinkedIn, Facebook,
mm,
Instagram,
mm,
but you need to choose one platform where
mm,
you know this would work, and then the secondary spread would happen through your audience.
mm. Got it. Interesting. And the last question I had was, there are people in this world who are introverts, some are extroverts. So, what, how, can introverts build a personal brand, or is it only for extroverts? So, these are some of the questions I have heard also from people. So, wanted to get your thoughts on that.
What do you think?
Well, I am an introvert, so I can say very clearly that yes, it does work. And I have built my brand over the last 20 plus years. I'm an author. I've been blogging since 2006. I speak at conferences. So I see it works. But I wanted to understand from your perspective, you have.
That says the answer. You're an introvert and you've given the answer, and I'm an extrovert, and you know what I've done out there. So, it is extremely important. It's not that only extroverts can do it because introverts can also network. And this global pandemic situation is a great example for that. Now we all are introverts. And everything is there out on social media. You have to pick up your phone or go on internet to even you have to talk to someone or anything.
Hmm.
So coming from an introvert from you and extrovert from me, it's the same. So you can.
Great, great. This is fantastic. Really, really great talking to you. I really enjoyed the conversation. Any other last thoughts on personal branding? Any other message you have for viewers of this video?
Well, all I would say is, initial stage of personal branding, I would say just be a little aggressive, all
Mm-hmm,
right? And then later, once after a while the process,
mm-hmm,
there would be a lot of people out there because competing there. So you need to be a little aggressive in a
mm-hmm,
right way, with a positive, outlook. And at the end of the day, you will know, you know, the not many rats to race along with you. Stop overthinking, take whatever comes in a positive way, and all you have to do is enjoy. Choose personal branding as your passion and just enjoy it, and everything would come your way.
Fantastic. So really nice to have this chat with you. Thank you, Mubina, for taking the time. And I
Like,
will after the session, I will kind of do the transcript and let you know
sure,
when this is ready to go live. Yeah.
sure. Yeah, thank you. It was great
Thank you.
talking. Thank you.
Pleasure. All right.
Yeah.
Take care. Bye.
Yeah, bye.